One of a couple of teams now in the league with only one win so far. Lost Return is obviously joining them there alongside SK at that 1 and 4 mark. But KCB, if they can knock down MKOI, it would be a massive scalp to claim.
It's even just the fact from KCB's perspective in general, they've been performing exceptionally.
True.
I've been really, really impressed with this roster and what they've managed to achieve, even if some of the wins haven't gone their way in some of those matches. But you can already see Jojo not going to get his hands on that Akali. It's their own ban that they're going to take away. But yeah, I really want to see if KCB can just kind of cause a bit of an upset here.
I think day on day, week on week, KCB continues to improve, and that's always something that you want to see, especially with some of these players coming up from tier 3 over the off season. MKOI with right of first selection are on the red side with first pick. They're going to lock in the Rumble after banning out Akali, Varus, and Nico. KCB took away the Orianna, the Jace, and the Azir, and take Yunara and Ryze as their first rotation.
Yeah, I think Yunara is still incredibly strong in the patch, but have you seen over the course of these last couple of weeks that teams are willing to just prioritize the Aphelios afterwards, and you kind of get that trade of, hey, we just both get late game scalers that can pop off as we go on. And we'll have to see what Kamiloo can try and do in the Ryze. It opens up a lot for Yukino in the jungle, and the ability to play around Yukino has been something that KCB have done incredibly well in the early stages. So I'm hoping that we get some more aggressive invaders and that kind of playstyle for Yukino.
Yeah, that jungle battle really excites me. I remember when Elyoya and Razork were coming up through the ERLs. It feels like Yukino is kind of that next generation of junglers that can really take the stage by storm. I did say that MKOI had right of first selection, picking first pick. Actually, KCB had it, and they chose second pick. MKOI then chose to be on the red side, just to clarify that for anyone at home who may have been slightly confused. Vi and Taliyah, a tried and true combination in the mid jungle there for Elyoya and Jojo.
One of the matchups that I didn't expect to be as excited about in this game is going to be the supports.
Yeah.
Prime has been fantastic. His Nico yesterday, I don't think I saw an ultimate that he used that didn't hit at least 3 people. Like, he looked so impressive on the pick, and I'm curious, well, it's already been banned away, but what he can do if he gets his hands on some of these big engage tools once more, and how Alvaro is going to work with Elyoya to try and shut that down, because obviously that has been the core game plan for MKOI for such a long period of time.
MKOI currently getting rid of an enchanter in the form of that Lulu to try and negate some of the power that Prime can hand out to his teammates. Kai'Sa taken away by KCB alongside the Rakan, 2 dive buddies for that Vi. Makes a lot of sense. Now MKOI looking at their final ban, and then we'll be looking towards their bot lane for their final 2 picks. KCB still have jungle and their support to lock in.
So Jarvan going to be banned away. I'm not 100%, like, I think you still got options here as Yukino. You can go towards something like the Zhao if you want to try and take the early fights, and looks like that might be the cause. Yeah, because you've already got that point and click CC with the Ryze, so a lot of pressure that can be put down in the mid lane if you want to try and look there.
Also allows you to create this sort of circle of safety while MKOI try and dive onto your backline, right? You can separate the Vi from the Taliyah, from the Aphelios, and make sure they're on separate sides of the fight, allowing your team to then collapse on Elyoya if he dives a little bit too deep. MKOI looking towards that Aphelios you talked about, wasn't banned out by KCB. They're like, okay, you can play someone who has to sit a little bit further back, and we'll try and negate some of that power.
I am curious what the response from MKOI for support's going to be, though, because you preemptively banned the Lulu, which says to me you want to try and go for the Braum here, and basically say, hey, look, you probably want a Rel or an Alvaro or some sort of engage tool to come through from Prime on that bottom side. As long as we can preempt that and take away that engage opportunity with the Braum, I think you're in a decent spot here.
Yeah, I think Braum definitely solves some of those problems. Alistar does a similar thing if you just want someone who can disengage but also can follow up on that engage, and Alvaro's Alistar to be feared. You don't mess with those horns at all. As KCB now looking towards their support. Like, counterpick support, not something we too commonly see. Does work really well if you want to try and win through that bot lane matchup. And if I'm playing to an Aphelios Alistar and I've got Yunara by my side, I mean, you could even look for something like the Braum yourself if you just want to try and disengage some of the all-in that MKOI have.
Yeah, I mean, you probably guess that MKOI are going to go for heavy engage. My only worry is that you do lack your own engage in that situation. So it looks like with the Aphelios and Taliyah, 2 immobile carries, they're going to look at the Bard instead just to try and provide that lockdown with the Tempered Fate. I like basically what both teams are bringing to the table, though. KCB, good mid-jungle that they can try and play through, pushing bot lanes that enables them to look for invades off of that strong mid-jungle and see if they can play in towards those later fights with the Yunara. And for MKOI, I mean, it's hard lockdown, lots of CC, lots of abilities to pick off members in a fight and target one down. So we'll have to see. It feels very much like MKOI trying to shut down pressure through that bottom side and play around that top half of the map. And for KCB, just see if you can blow open the game early.
Yeah, also if you get to mid-late game fights with a slight lead for KCB, I quite like their composition, the ability, as you say, for that Temper Fate to lock down the Aphelios on the backline, negating his power in a fight at the start of it. You kill the Vi, you kill the Rumble, who are relatively squishy, and then you can go front to back. It could make a lot of sense. I had a quick look at Prime's Bard history. He has not won on it in 6 years, well, 5.5. Last time he won was LVP 2020 Summer on Team Queso, playing up against Mad. And since then, he's played it 3 times and lost in all of those games. So, been a little while for him. But, you know.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm laughing at the team names. Team Queso, so this cheese, isn't it?
Yeah, Team Queso, LVP
Job
team.
Life is one of his other teams as
Oh, no,
well.
sorry, he was playing on Mad Lions at the time, not Team Queso, my mistake. Not my mistake. But let's get into the Rift. Let's get on to the Rift. Prime, obviously, with a little bit of history against, or with, you know, Movistar KOI. Used to be Mad Lions, then changed into KOI, and changed into Movistar KOI. Did play on that roster for a few years a while ago alongside Flackhead. As Yukino and Tao try and get a bit of vision in here. They will put down the ward. Kamiloo with a bit of a trade there with the spell Flux on to Jojopyun, using those autos as well, but takes a threaded volley in return. Jojo popping through the potions early. Hazel and Prime trying to step forward here. Ghost coming out from both. Oh, good flash Cosmic Binding from Prime. But the knockback from Alvaro means that Supa only suffers half of his health.
Still going to be a difficult lane now for Supa to play. Alvaro not going to be very useful in the early stages. You're already below half HP. And the ability for Prime and Hazel to just step up past this wave is so strong. I'm curious if Elyoya starts to change up his game plan here and see if he can try and support the bot lane. Maybe force Hazel and Prime back a little bit.
And the only benefit for Supa and Alvaro is they didn't burn flashes. So they do still have that to try and escape the clutches of a Cosmic Binding. You do have to be a little bit cautious. Elyoya is pathing towards the top side, which makes sense. Myrwn should be able to get the push on Tao and should be able to chip that Cassante low before he goes back and gets some magic resist like the Canik Rook Gun. That magic resist shield really negates a lot of the power Rumble has in the lane, at least the kill threat that he can develop.
Yeah, that's why he kind of does relatively okay in the lane, and just being able to survive and become a mega tank in the later portion of the game. But I wasn't sure if he'd see Elyoya change to go from blue into Wolves back out towards his Krug hit 3 income bot, because Prime not having flash makes him, no pun intended, a prime target. So I think we'd expect Elyoya to try and get down to this bottom side at some stage.
I think part of the risk of that for Elyoya is that there is a ward there, and they know there's a ward there. So if he goes blue into Razor Beaks, you know he's there 2 camps too quickly. Like junglers, players at this level, players at levels below this as well will be able to track those timers, know that the Vi is there way too quickly, and then can readjust how they're playing the lane based on when he can get there.
Because Alvaro kept his flash, you could probably go for the lane gang.
I agree.
Which is what
I 100% agree it's a possibility. I think KCB should have been wise to the possibility if it had materialized. And that jungle matchup is definitely one we want to focus on through the course of this game. Yukino, one of the stars on KCB. Elyoya having a really good start to the split, and KOI generally actually having a really good start to the split. And you can actually see Elyoya, he's falling behind in gold difference at 14, but he's actually really involved in his team's kills in the early game and generally throughout the match.
Yeah, I mean, especially you could see that yesterday, right? Like, the ability for that Pantheon to move around, get picks in the mid lane, then set up for even that first blood on that top side towards Myrwn, really changed the dynamic of that top side matchup. And it looks like that might be the call here again for Elyoya, at least trying to get some vision down to spot out where KCB have started.
Yeah, protects Myrwn as well as he gets this push out onto Tao. We talked about the Rumble with that Flame Spitter can just get the push early on. Tao going for the Doran shield early as Yukino might look for a gank down towards bottom. He could just be trying to get a little bit of vision of his own and then go for a reset. You get the home guards. Slightly quicker clear from Elyoya means he'll be back out on the map just that little bit sooner. Actually looks like he's going to path across towards mid lane right now.
Yeah, I'm curious where, because you've already got Jojo that's got control over mid, is pushing out, so maybe looking to see if he can just wrap. Oh, he is going to wrap around. Oh, never mind. I was going to say to the bottom side, but not going to be the case.
I didn't see pings on him as he pathed up towards that blue buff area, and so I think the pathing there is to avoid the ward that would be placed in that situation. Jojo here getting caught out by Yukino, and there's the third auto. I mean, Yukino just walked through the lane. Jojo had already used his flash and gets taken out.
Yeah, nicely done by KCB to set that one up. Jojo falling down. He played exceptionally yesterday and been able to avoid so much of that pressure in the mid lane. Look, Yukino and Kamiloo making it happen.
Yeah, really nice stuff. I didn't see on the screen him use his flash earlier on. Maybe I missed it as Alvaro goes in for a headbutt pulverize combination. With the Gravitum gun and Infernum here, Prime's taking a lot of damage. Heals himself up with the Caretaker's Strike, and Supa takes the tower shot. Hazel trying to get the damage back down onto Supa. A good Dusk Wave, though, forces Hazel low. And, oh, the damage coming out from the Gravitum Q is enough. Supa secures the kill.
Nicely played by Supa. Waited for Hazel to run out of that extension on the Q, and then able to turn it around and get that last little bit of damage down. Supa stepping up with that early kill here for MKOI.
I think really Hazel just didn't anticipate how much damage was coming out of that Gravitum as well. Having it back up in the middle of the fight, really well played by Supa. Gets himself a BF sword on his back, which is a massive advantage over the recurve cull that Hazel has had to pick up. And although Supa and Alvaro were struggling a little bit after the level 1, now very much back in the lead in that bot lane.
Kamiloo's still trying to put pressure down, though. I think at this stage you can still try and play his KC Blue through mid into that bot pressure, but Jojo going to get
onto Jojo. Rune Prison could follow up on this. Doesn't quite. Seismic Shove will get the knockback onto Prime, but he's fine and dandy on that Bard. Just gets the push out here with Kamiloo. Jojo still no flash for about a quarter of its cooldown. You see Alvaro trying to work his way up towards that mid lane, covering Kamiloo, and that's what Alvaro and Elyoya need to do, trying to get damage onto Kamiloo. They need to cover Jojo to make sure that he can get these push outs, that he doesn't have to overextend. Without this flash, it becomes very tricky for the Taliyah.
It is just so hard when you've got so much push, though, in that bottom side of the map. So I think this is where we'll have to see Elyoya getting a little bit more creative and trying to play around this mid portion of the map, just solo, and see if he can get some deep wards down. You can see they have a decent ward just in over at the Raptors. That'll spot out exactly when the Xin Zhao is coming towards that bottom side. But if MKOI, I think you're kind of happy with, hey, we got a kill for Supa in that bottom lane. We're slowly kind of keeping pace here. No dragons have been taken. And as long as this game doesn't like quickly get out of control from KCB through that bottom side, I think you're okay as MKOI.
Yeah, scale up Aphelios has gone back and got himself a cult. Alvaro covering towards the bottom side of this. It's going to get caught out a little bit. Kamiloo ghosting in here. Looking for Jojo. Misses the overload. But just needs a couple more autos. Prime comes in and secures it. Meanwhile, Kamiloo tanks the tower shots and Jojo gets the kill. A 1-for-1 exchange so far as Yukino tries to join up with his support. Prime looking for the flash Cosmic Binding, but the cease and desist will lock him in place, and the Caretaker's Shrines won't be enough to heal him up. Yukino trying to trade back in, but is stunned by the trample, and Alvaro and Elyoya walk away.
Oh, that does not go the way KCB wanted at all. 2 of those Qs whiffing from Kamiloo sets up for MKOI to follow through. So you can see there, one, not able to hit another one, and then Prime taking that kill as well means that it's just the Taliyah that ends up with the actual kill, and Prime then giving a kill across to Elyoya as well. It's a mess for KCB.
Prime using the magical journey to get in there, to get the kill, make sure it was secured, means he doesn't have that escape route, doesn't have the way back out, and because of that, Jojo happily accepts the kill, even gold now in the mid lane. So we see Myrwn and Tao, I mean, they're top laners, guys. For now, they're not really going to be able to have too much impact. Myrwn looking for the Electro Harpoons, Flame Spitter out, Tao dashing away. Does still have a flash of his own and can just tank up that damage from Myrwn. The big lead for MKOI down in this bottom lane. Supa getting that kill means that he's about 400 gold ahead. Stacking up his cull. He's about 17, 18 stacks behind, but it doesn't really matter too much. He'll be there soon enough. Seismic Shove into Unraveled Earth there. We'll catch out Kamiloo, who at the moment does have the push on Jojo.
I'm waiting to see how much pressure MKOI want to try and put down towards this dragon. You're getting resets here for Elyoya and should be in a decent spot after this to try and take a fight if he wants to. You got MKOI with push on bot side. Maybe an opportunity to try and go for something here, especially with the BF to a recurve on that bottom side.
And Jojo's spacing there, actually really nice to watch. Like just out of range of the overload, sidestepping it, gets the Seismic Shove down. Then when it misses, doesn't just let Kamiloo walk back into the lane. Has to walk through a big rock and then a threaded volley as well. Elyoya clearing out some more vision. Jojo with the push, no TP on Kamiloo, does have the Realm Warp. Yukino spotted down on his Krugs. Ryze backing away. MKOI can start to set up around the Drake. It's a Scuttle Crab for now for Elyoya. As a jungler, he'll be very happy to secure that minor neutral objective, but doesn't look like they're going to go for much more as of yet. Maybe they are.
Yeah, I think with the way the map is set up, it makes sense. You push on mid, Kamiloo had to reset. It was about half HP and half on mana. And MKOI set up that slow push on bottom side. So there's a little contest that can come through here. So I think Yukino kind of reading the play correctly. I imagine he's just resetting immediately to run up to Grubs, but maybe he'd be able to take some. But I think at this stage, Elyoya might be able to try and move across to see if he can take one off.
A smart play around by MKOI, realizing the backtimers of KCB. Prime now here pushing out the mid lane to allow Kamiloo to move over to these grubs if Elyoya does contest. Elyoya down towards his grub, but they're just sacking these. Grub's kind of a consolation prize in a lot of games right now. You lose the Drake, you go for grubs. You have to make sure you have enough members over there to defend it if a fight does happen. But while this is happening, Hazel is losing out a ton on the bot side.
It's also with the crystalline, or the crystals, it feels so much less impactful. Oh,
Hazel stepping forward, headbutt pulverize into the Sever and Moonlight Vigil. Hazel stepped up too early and is swiped down where he stands. Supa now looking for a little bit more, adding a bard to his prize. Can't quite get it. Alvaro with the Unbreakable Will there, perhaps looking for more than his AD carry. Yukino defending his mid laner here, but the cease and desist into the seismic shoves enough, and MKOI roaring into life in this game. Jojo survives through it, but the wind becomes lightning, and Jojo becomes fish food. Yukino looking for a bit more damage onto Elyoya, who has to flash. Prime comes across. Alvaro with the flash headbutt pulverize there. Didn't quite connect, and now is going to pay the iron price for it. Yukino gets another 3-0-0 now on this Xin Zhao.
That looked really funky from Alvaro. I don't know if he half connected the headbutt and then flashed before the headbutt actually, connected, which meant that when he flashed over, just got the pulverized damage, but yeah, a little funky. And it means that now it's just more going into the hands of KCB.
Yeah, sometimes Spec Client can be a little bit odd with these things. I'd have to see it in live, but Hazel here, just a bit greedy trying to get up to the wave.
Yeah, the fact that Prime wasn't there and MKOI had already stepped past just makes that nearly impossible to try and follow up on. And then it looks like a little bit of maybe miscommunication here as Alvaro uses the Unbreakable Will. But here, Elyoya gets the lockdown on towards Kamiloo. Jojo gets the flick back. And then Yukino with a nice wind becomes lightning as Elyoya had got the interrupt there. But I want to keep my eyes on this because...
What happened there?
Yeah.
I mean, Alvaro confused as we are.
So I think, so basically the way you can work Alistar is you can headbutt and then flash in the middle of the headbutt, right? Yeah. But you have to actually wait for the headbutt to connect if you want to get that knockback.
Yeah.
You can flash midway through, but maybe that's what happened.
Seismic shove coming down. Alvaro already went in. Tempered Face going to lock up 4 players here. But I think MKOI are coming out of this cage match on top. Alvaro will fall, but Yukino has no way out as Elyoya and Jojo collapse on him and get MKOI's 7th kill of the game.
Nice again from MKOI. And this is kind of what MKOI have been doing such a good job of the last couple of days, has been just hard focus on let's play around Jojo, let's get Alvaro and Elyoya involved, make sure that we're finding these quick skirmishes. And we got to see that kind of snowball out of control against Fnatic yesterday, and we're seeing a similar story here where these skirmishes for MKOI have just been so good.
And the reason they can do that is because MKOI won the bot lane, predominantly in a 2v2. Elyoya has been around here, but hasn't had to be in the lane to influence it. Supa now has a 2,000 gold lead, a lot of it stemming off the fact they were able to get those early kills, and then the fact they were able to keep Hazel so far away from the tower as Prime was roaming to the mid lane to try and stem some of the bleeding that was happening with Kamiloo. Supa in a massive advantage. Stormrazor already complete on this Aphelios. Does need to be a little bit cautious because Kamiloo can come down with a Realm Warp. Alvaro's going to get slowed by those Bard auto attacks. Cosmic Binder coming out as well. But you can see Elyoya waiting near the Gromp. He's like, okay, if a fight does materialize, I can immediately react.
Also good roam from Jojo as well. Started to shift down and had that Weaver's Wall to get into position if need be. So I think KCB rightly realizing that there was a potential to be outnumbered, but Yukino, not to be outdone, immediately moving topside.
Tao going all out onto Myrwn. It's a little bit of damage down, but he might actually just be losing this trade. Daniel Rook not enough to keep him healthy through that flame spit of damage. Supa letting the tower on the bottom side kill off as many of these minions as possible before he gets that first hurt of the game. 2.5k now his lead. Still has the cull, and we talked about earlier how Hazel was about 17 stacks ahead on this cull. Like, Supa's now about 13 stacks ahead for himself. Hazel has been denied so much in this game as Tao once again steps forward into Myrwn, and we do have a small pause. It's like a puppy. Small pause, you know?
There's a little toe beats, you know?
Yeah.
But I think, like, this is an absolute... So if you look at just the kill score, 5-7, it doesn't look that bad for KCB. But the fact that this Aphelios is so far ahead is disastrous for Karmine Corp. He's going to end up outperforming this Yunara in so many of these fights And again, a lot of that, the conversation we had at the start was MKOI have great engage with Elyoya and Jojopyun, but Supa has to be the one to follow up a lot of that damage, and he's going to have it in shovels and everything as you get into this.
I think I'm going to jump back into the game. It's already checks coming out. As we came out of the pause, Tao kind of levitated on our screens for a second, so maybe that was absolutely. He was flying in the sky. I mean, Cassante is strong, but I don't know if we need to give him levitation powers. It's one of those overbuffs that happen when we really want to see a champion at Worlds.
When you remove his ability to decide which direction later on he does the W, you have to give him levitation.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. If I knew more about anime, I'm sure there's some sort of guy floating on a cloud meme.
Oh, definitely.
But neither of us really huge anime fans. Although the new season of Myrwn just came out. I'm hearing very good things about it. It's a very cozy anime if you've never watched it. Highly recommend. Don't be distracted by the fact that she's called Myrwn the Slayer as Tempered Fate comes out in the mid lane. Alvaro with a good headbutt to get the knockback. Hazel trying to trade onto Supa, but you just can't trade in. As Supa pops the ghost and walks his way out of danger with the help of his cow support.
Yeah, it's really difficult to try and trade into Supa with the Storm Razors complete because that's slow, doing a lot of work, and Supa showing he's more than happy to take these fights. We're dragging up. Oh, Yukino.
Elyoya dives in. They've got the Weaver's Wall coming down from the bottom side as well. Crescent Guard out from Yukino to try and survive. Prime and Kamiloo in good position here to keep on trading in. The pulverize back onto Kamiloo. Jojo's going to kill off Yukino, and Prime has to take a magical journey to a bit of safety underneath his mid lane tier 1. Drake up, and that will be MKOI's prize for winning the fight.
Jojo played that fight so patiently, waited until the ultimate from Yukino had disappeared, then went for the flick back, which meant he got all the damage off and actually set up for the kill to come through. Tao sitting towards Supa in this mid lane though. Still have to be a little careful.
Not going to be able to get anything out of that. Alvaro here scouting out the red buff. I was wondering if Elyoya might go in there. A bit of vision put down. Let's have another look at this fight because they dive in onto Yukino, and for a moment it looks like actually KCB might be able to turn the fight.
Yeah, and you're kind of sitting here going, okay, well, we've got the Vi ultimate down. Traditionally, that's when you see the flick back come through, but Jojo just waiting until that ultimate from the Xin Zhao was gone, gets the double flick, and now Supa in a 1v2.
Gets the double root into the Moonlight Vigil. Hazel almost falling. Better guns there for Supa. Would have spelt his death. Yukino trying to get into the middle of the fray, but it's not going to be able to do it. Realm Walk forward as Jojo is low on mana here. Threaded volley out. Jojo with the Unraveled Earth has the seismic shove. Doesn't quite clip Kamiloo, but I think Elyoya might clip him with those fists. Elyoya claims his third.
I mean, KCB are just throwing everything, trying to see if they can find some weakness in MKOI, but there just doesn't seem to be anything right now. Yukino spotting by on the bottom side will start up the Rift Herald as Myrwn kind of toasting Tao on this top side.
It's like bow buns, but slightly misspelled. Toasted Tao in the top side as he has to flash away with the all-out. TP's coming in from MKOI. Good cosmic binding onto Myrwn. Tao going forward for a little bit more. Myrwn's got to flash away. Flash headbutts. Jojo secures the kill, and now KCB are running for the hills. Prime has to flash away himself. Cosmic binding gets the stun, but he's roasted where he stands. Myrwn secures the kill.
Myrwn with the hands diff there. Great flash to get away from anything that KCB wanted to achieve, and MKOI finding so many more picks. They're starting to run away with this now.
Yeah, 7,500 gold lead at 16 minutes. It's pretty one-sided. KCB has shown us good signs of life. They're very quickly going into asystole here as Hazel needs to run away from Supa. Crescendum Calibrum. Good guns to clip you off at long range. And meanwhile, on the top side, Jojo should be taking away some of the plates from the tower. Hazel going in. Look at the damage onto Supa. Prime coming in from the side as well. Hazel trying to flash forward, but doesn't land the shots as Alvaro keeps them at bay once again. Kamiloo coming in, trying to find Alvaro, but he can't get close enough. The spell flux won't be enough to catch out Elyoya. They will get some plates on this mid lane tower, but you need more than a tourniquet to stem this bleeding. Jojo looking to see perhaps if there was a possibility of a flank, but a Weaver's Wall will crochet himself away to safety.
Still a decent collapse from KCB. They end up getting some plates. Waves are in positions where they're able to catch them all as well, so they don't actually lose out on too much for trying to make the play happen. And they end up sending MKOI at least back for the moment, but I mean, you've already started that dragon stacking. They're going to be back out of the map, and Myrwn may be looking for the Yunara, but she's in a safe spot.
Courageous Giga Guard.
I was really hoping he'd just all in. Scrap Shield just sprinted him, see what happens. Equalizer was just coming off cooldown. Hazel does still have the Ghost. It doesn't have the ult or Flash. Tao here, about to be collapsed on by MKOI. Knock up into knock up. Tao tanky enough to survive through it. Pathmaker back. Prime comes in with a Cosmic Binding. Doesn't quite land the stun. The tower's still standing here, but MKOI fighting behind it as Tao chipped away at by MKOI. They'll get another. Realm will bin by Kamiloo. MKOI now caught out a little bit with cease and desist. Dives onto the Ryze, and he's not doing that. He's falling where he stands. Yukino caught out by Supa, trying to find a way out of this one. The Dust Wave doesn't quite connect on him, but a Vault Breaker finds its man. MKOI once again collapsing, and KCB doing exactly the same, but in a slightly more detrimental way.
MKOI just played around that wall so well, denying KCB. Oh, hang on a sec.
Oh, Prime almost falling. Hazel trying to protect his Bard. Prime had a wall through, but needed the Magical Journey, because otherwise Supa would have collapsed onto him. Another tower going down. MKOI extend their lead to almost 11k before the 20-minute mark.
Yeah, this is a confident play from MKOI. You can kind of see why people are talking about them as the best team in the league right now. Just the ability to blow open games like this is so incredibly strong. But we get to see here, like, Tao in a terrible spot. MKOI are trying to make this play happen. You can see the Ryze Realm Warp to try and get in. Maybe KCB have the advantage in numbers, but you can see, like, Supa's in a great spot, Jojo's relatively untouched, Hazel can't really get in position, and Myrwn's able to walk up. It's just using the terrain so well there to deny KCB any real entry.
Everyone understanding their jobs as well. Alvaro just acting as that bouncer, saying, okay, you guys can try and get past me, but I'm tanky enough that you're just not going to manage it. Has even gone for the Zeke's Convergence for the extra ultimate ability haste on that Alistar. Alongside that, you've got the seismic shoves coming out from Jojo, Elyoya picking his mark, picking his man, and finding them every time he can. Once again, finding Yukino here, Crescent Guard out just to defend. MKOI, as you say, definitely the best team in the league right now. Cease and desist. There's no Crescent Guard to save Yukino. And perhaps Zayn was right, as Zhao dies once again. And for MKOI, there's another Drake. Elyoya is going to work his way across towards that. It will be Soul Point 21 minutes in. Tao's going to get caught out a little bit, but should be able to walk away. It's just Elyoya giving him a friendly fist to the face as he forces Tao to back away from the Dragon Pits.
Yeah, third Dragon, control on the map. Like, there's so much vision even still on that top side that they're going to be able to dictate kind of next moves around Baron. MKOI are just in such an incredibly strong position. And I like the KCB are trying to make plays. Like, so many teams would just roll over at this stage, but they're trying to see if they can find picks, using the things like the Bard's Magical Journey to get into positions fast, but it's just not enough.
Right, Tao flashing in.
Oh.
The all-out will pull him back near the tower, but not under it. Yukino waiting in the wings, and Tao just burns. Roasted by Myrwn, and now with the TPs coming in and an equalizer, Yukino gets it in the end. 5 of his team, 6 kills sitting on that Xin Zhao, but MKOI make him pay the price for getting one of their own. Another tower falls, a 12k gold lead. Only one tier 2 remains now for KCB.
And Elyoya is just reading Yukino so well. Every time he tries to make a play, Elyoya is only a matter of seconds before he shows up as well, and often turning the tide. It's such a great display from MKOI.
It really is. MKOI doing a great job. For KCB, some signs of life in the early game. Still signs of life now, but there's only so much you can do at this point. And MKOI can two-man this Baron. They have the protection of a Weaver's Wall from Jojo to cut off anyone approaching. And Alvaro also with good vision control towards that blue side jungle. My expectation is you take this, you push out all 3 lanes, because you can. If you want, you can 1-3-1, use both the Rumble and the Taliyah in the side waves to get that push in. Just need to look for that mid-tier 2. Elyoya and Alvaro covering the Aphelios here. Supa still such a strong position, almost 3 items already on this Aphelios. Tao's going to get the knockback onto Elyoya, who does tank a tower shot and really does more damage than Tao did. Hazel got clipped by just 1 flame of the Infernum as Yukino tries to get Jojo off his wall. With the teleports coming in, Alvaro turning the fray back onto the KCB jungler. Seismic shove dodged well, Temper Fate coming out as well with a 2-man stun, but Kamiloo's not here and KCB just don't have the damage. Moonlight Vigil almost clips the heels of Prime. Doesn't quite have enough to kill off that Bard, but with 1 man less, KCB really can't defend to come against the oncoming horde that is MKOI.
And they just get to move up to that top side next as well. The wave already in a decent position. MKOI, they are really putting a chokehold on KCB here. And it's still like, Mountain Soul is in 2 minutes. Everything that you could want is still up and available after this.
Alvaro caught out a little bit. Zhao jumping in once again. Man, he's been in the oven so long. That guy is burnt by now. He's charcoal. It's a crisp. MKOI, you can't taste good. You can't get much gold out of him. Jojo taking a tower. And once again, Yukino goes down. Kamiloo and Prime trying to stand and deliver, but the post is late. There are delays. There's wrong postage. You didn't pay enough for the package or something, KCB, because this game has been all MKOI.
Which is mad, because MKOI put enough stamps on this thing at this stage that you think it would have got somewhere.
I don't think the sole of your boot counts as an adequate stamp to send something by mail, Rob. MKOI just absolutely demolishing KCB, and this is kind of what we expect. We'll have another look at the fight. Alvaro caught out a little bit, but as Zhao jumps in, immediately stunned by the Unraveled Earth.
But it's the same story, right? You try and make these plays happen. KCB end up having to overextend because of good ultimate from Myrwn forcing them forward, but Elyoya has the ultimate. Jojo with a great flick here into Yukino sets up. Like, it's just this revolving door of pain, and unfortunately KCB just keep on walking through it.
There's not really much else they can do in this sort of situation. MKOI with a minute on the Soul will be pushing out through this bottom side. Still have 30 seconds on this Baron buff, so next wave is the last wave of it. Supa's on the top side, Supa's coming through mid. They'll be about even on their timing, actually. The Supa's in top, held up by an opposing minion wave, but that won't stand against them for long. With Baron buff, Jojo just buffing up these minions. The rest of MKOI grouping up around mid. Temper Fate just short of hitting Jojo. A smart play from Prime to know there was someone just around that corner. Really have the vision on him. MKOI, they can settle this without a soul if needs be. Jojo waiting for the next wave. Baron now expiring. With 2 waves of super minions coming in, MKOI will turn their attentions towards the last remaining tower outside of the ones guarding the Nexus. And that will very rapidly fall. An equalizer onto Hazel forces him back to base. The third inhibitor goes down as well as Supa and Alvaro look for the fight, and Prime is taken out, divided by 2 it seems. Elyoya going for a little bit more, dives in with the cease and desist. Zhao trying to protect his AD carry, but you just can't do anything against this MKOI. An absolute demolition, beautiful stuff from MKOI. In sub 26 minutes, they clean up the game and they claim their 2nd win on the week.
Winning in difficult lanes, winning on the map, absolutely destroying KCB when it came to team fights. I mean, MKOI, that was clean.
It really was. Incredible stuff all around by MKOI. You can vote for one of them in your player of the game. Jojo, Supa, or Alvaro are your options. I'm support bias, 100%.
Oh, gotcha.
But that was really nice from Alvaro. Like, that's the sort of Alistar you want to see in every single one of your games.